Good morning, everyone. Welcome to C Land News Brief. Today is January 18th, Wednesday. And today we want to take a look at the mortgage rate first, of course. And the first news is the borough administrator in Palisade Park sued the ex-mayor, Mr. Jung. Okay, next news is New York luxury home market softens. Yes, we hear the news. And the residential market turns to buyer market partially. We expect it, sort of. And EVs, electrical vehicles, climb to 10% of new cars sold. And the next news we will take a look at is a bond rally eases pressure on traders. Which means bond rally, so bond is doing good, the strong price. That means the yield is getting decreased. So that means it's good because 30-year mortgage rate also going down. And the next news is inflation pace slows for 6th straight month. That's also good news. We want to take a look at it in detail. And USB says, USB is the Swiss central bank, just like our central bank. And it's the biggest private bank in the world, they're saying. UBS says the US Fed will lower interest rates from July. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. All right, first, this week's mortgage rates, we see all green. Yeah, that's good. So going down. So 30-year fixed rate is 6.125. Yet it's not 5s, but close to. And as you said, Lawrence Yan said that this year, probably about 5.7%, 30-year fixed mortgage rate, possibly stays about 5.7. Okay, fixed year 5.25 and FHA 5.625. See, again, I want to point it out. FHA interest rate is lower than 30-year fixed rate, which is kind of interesting. Typically, FHA interest rate is a little bit higher than 30-year fixed rate. Now, 10-year treasury yield, we're going to talk about that later. It's a 3.518, and 5-year ARM and 7-year ARM. Anyway, all these different programs, they all shows green. So that's good. 그 전체적으로 지금 우리가 내려갔죠. 전번 주보다. 전번 주는 조금 이상하게 왜 올라갔었어요, 사실은. anyway, 다들 내려가서 지금 30년 고정이 아직 5자는 안 달았는데 가까이 지금 가고 있다. 그런 소식이고요. Okay, Palisade Park Borough Administrator David Lorenzo filed a suit on December 29th against the former mayor Chris Si장, and the town, claiming that he was discriminated because of race, non-Korean. It's like a reverse discrimination case. We don't know what's going to happen with this case, but anyway, as I said, many times I have learned in this country, anyone can sue anybody for anything. Yeah. But so anyway, David Lorenzo and Deputy Administrator Austin Ashley claimed that the former mayor insisted the borough administrator must be a Korean, and Chris Chung tried to pass the resolution of resignation of David Lorenzo and Austin Ashley unfairly. In fact, he did, but he failed. Okay. And so they want that Mr. Chung should pay for the damage personally. 그 팔팍 행정관 잘 아시는 데이비드 로렌조 이분이 오히려 거꾸로 지금 정 시장을 수를 걸었다. 타운하고 정 시장을 같이 그 사유인즉슨 본인이 차별을 당했다. 코리안이 아니기 때문에 차별을 당해서 그리고 이제 막 이 행정관이 한국 사람이 돼야 된다고 막 주장을 하고 그리고 우리가 뉴스 들어서 알죠? 정 시장이 시장으로 있을 때에 데이비드 로렌조를 사임시키려고 해임시키는 거죠. 그 카운슬 미팅에서 시도했지만은 miserably fail했어요. 그런 것도 있고 해서 이번에는 거꾸로 이제 오스틴 애슐리하고 데이비드 로렌조가 정 시장하고 타운을 수를 걸었다. 그래서 개인적으로 페이를 해야 된다라고 하고 있다. 그 뉴스가 들어와 있고요. 오케이. And the New York luxury home market softens. And well, we can kind of imagine. We know it's tough in general. It's a picking up from Corona time, of course, but still overall economy is not so great. So it'll affect to the luxury home market as well. So the sales of city's most expensive apartment, in this case, when we categorize luxury homes, is above $4 million condo. And the expensive apartments slowed down in the second half of the last year. And the brokers and the analysts don't expect a turnaround soon, as the prospect of the economic slowdown pinches even the most affluent home buyers, most rich people. And New York luxury market finished 2022 with a respectable $10.3 billion in sales from more than 1,300 apartments priced at $4 million and above. The year 2022 ranked fifth over the past decade, last 10 years. It's fifth, year 2022. And in terms of contracts signed, but 64% of those transactions occurred before the end of June, so only part of the last year. And what happened with the second half? Of course, interest rate moving up, so the second half much slowed down. And with activity slowing significantly over the last 6 months. 지금 4 밀리언 이상 되는 콘도들을 우리가 럭셔리 홈으로 캐테고리를 잡는 건데 지금 2022년도에 한 10.3 빌리언이 팔렸고요. 한 1,300개 정도 팔렸다. 그런데 2022년도가 과거 10년 사이에 한 중간 정도 랭킹을 한다. 그런데 그 팔린 게 거의 준 이전에 팔린 거다. 그러니까 준 이후로는 우리가 지금 이자율을 지금 올라간 것 때문에 역시 럭셔리 마켓도 영향을 줬다 하는 얘기고요. Okay, so let's take a look at some graphs here. See the year 2022, we sold about 1,300 luxury condos. Okay, so look at this graph. Year 2021, okay, it's about close to maybe 1,800 something, but dropped to 1,300 year 2022, mainly because of I think second half. And also volume, this is year 2021, luxury condo volume. So about 15, little over 16 billion. But see, year 2022 dropped down to 10.3 billion. So that's kind of what's happening in the Manhattan luxury condo market. Okay, next news is residential market turns to buyer market partially. We're talking about different territory. According to the Redfin, 42% of sellers had the seller concession in the fourth quarter, which is highest since July 2020, and is double from July 2021 when the market is booming. The seller's concession means, well, seller becomes kind of weak, right? So they provide some kind of benefits to the buyer. For instance, seller concession can include accepting repair cost. So seller will give the repair cost or closing cost. In fact, including buy down cost. You remember a few times we talked about the buy down program. Some area, especially California, is very popular right now. But I guess because house price is high and also interest rate is high. So with the range of a few thousands to tens of thousands, so 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. In other words, the seller do the concession or a price discount or multiple of those concessions. These market changes can be seen especially in the hot area. The Phoenix used to be hot. It's Phoenix and San Diego or Portland and Las Vegas, etc. But the market doesn't take that unreasonable offers yet. So some people, this is catch, right? Some buyers saying, almost like you feel like a market crash. So I want to offer ridiculously low. It doesn't work. A lot of buyers are missing that point. And buyer needs to be pay attention on DOM, okay? Whether it's 1 week on the market or 2 weeks on the market, 3 weeks on the market, etc. They have to pay attention when they think of lower than the list price. So still be careful. And as I said, the last meeting, we got rejected. One of our agent, over $1 million house, we thought, let's say there was $70,000 lower than the listing price was acceptable. We thought that, but no, it's rejected. So the market doesn't take the unreasonable offers yet. 지금 바이어 마켓으로 이제 턴어라운드 하고 있는 중이다. 이제 레드핀이 셀러 컨세션을 준 셀러가 그러니까 뭐 좋은 조건을 이제 도와주는 거죠. 리페어 코스트를 대든다든지 클로징 코스트를 대든다든지 아니면 especially buy down 프로그램의 코스트 그런 것들이 지금 42%의 바이어 셀러들이 그렇게 해서 팔았다. 이런 얘기죠. 그런데 그게 보통 한 20% 높을 때가 July 2022였는데 2020에 그때보다도 지금 한 2배가 늘었다. 그 셀러들의 숫자가 컨세션을 해주는 셀러들이 그러나 그렇다고 해서 근데 그 지역이 그렇게 지금 활발하게 셀러스 컨세션이 이루어지는 즉 바이어 마켓으로 턴어라운드 하는 지역이 피닉스, 샌디에고, 포틀랜드, 라스베가스 등들이다. 그런 얘기인데 그래서 아직 그렇게 ridiculous하게 오퍼를 던져가지고는 안 된다는 얘기죠. 오케이? 이렇게 해서 바이어들은 리스팅 프라이스보다 낮게 들어가려면 DOM을 잘 보고 당연히 에이전트하고 상의를 해야 된다. Okay, the next news is, well, I guess it's somewhat good news. EV, electric vehicles, climb to 10% of new cars sold. That's good, catching up. And this 10% is globally. So especially mainly because of strong growth in China and Europe. Okay, so globally now it's the EVs sale takes 10% of all new cars sold, and totally 7.8 million units. globally, the worldwide, and that is 68% from previous year. That's quite a bit of increase. But what about US? US lags behind China and Europe in terms of EVs. Last year, automakers sold 807,180 fully electric vehicles in US. So less than a million. A rise in the share of all electrical vehicles to 5.8% of all vehicles sold from 3.2% in year before. So it's increasing, it's getting there, but still only 5.8% in US. But worldwide it now reached to 10%. 그 전기차가 전 세계적으로 새 차 팔린 거의 10%까지 지금 왔다. 그러니까 10대 중에 한 대는 지금 EV다 이렇게 되는 거죠. 그래서 7.8 밀리언 유닛이 팔렸고요. 그것이 작년에 비해서 68% 늘은 거다. 근데 미국은 굉장히 지금 좀 처지고 있다. 5.8%밖에 안 되고 그것이 전년도 3.2%보다는 그래도 훨씬 2배 가까이 늘은 거다. 그런 지금 통계가 들어와 있고요. 요새 테슬라는 아주 안 좋죠. As you know, Tesla is doing bad, and they have a lot of inventories, and they start slicing the price. They're cutting prices. So maybe it's a good time to buy Tesla if you are really interested in EVs. Of course, a charging station is a big problem. Oh, one of the stories, it's a story from, again, Duluth area, Georgia. And one kind of a small shopping mall, relatively small shopping malls with about, let's say, 20 to 30 retail stores, kind of went down. Okay, but the landlord kind of come up with ideas. They put electrical vehicle charging stations. I saw about 7 stations. Okay. Then this mall kind of turned around. Now it's booming. So it's very interesting phenomena. Just one kind of factor can make this mall live or death. Very interesting. Okay, but anyway, the next news is again the bond, 10-year Treasury bond. So bond rally eases pressure on traders. Well, as you know, bond price goes up, the yield goes down. Okay. Of course, another strong week of U.S. bond market is giving investor increasing hope that they can turn the page on a brutal 2022. Yields, which fall when bond prices rise, have plunged this year more than they spot upward last January. Look at this graph first. Okay, this is 10-year Treasury yield. Percentage point change in January of each year. So I guess it's a January 5 days, 10 days, I think, trading days. And this is a percentage of change. So it's increase, percent of increase. See, year 2022, it goes up. But year 2023, the percentage of increase is going down. Okay. So this is a yield. That means reversely, the bond price goes up. Okay, that's what they're talking about. So while cheering traders, now problem is the Fed side, okay, Federal Reserve side, they are kind of worried about this curve going down. Why? Because if it's going down, then it translates to lower borrowing cost of consumers and businesses. Then they kind of worried economic boom is starting again. Okay, then what? Inflation kicks in. Okay, so they don't, the Fed Reserve, they don't want to see that. So that's why if they do that, the potentially an issue for the Fed officials who have expressed anxiety at times that market rallies could complicate their inflation fight. Market rally means bond rally. Okay, bond rally, then yield drops, then the lowering borrowing cost, it then makes consumer activities very active and business very active, right? Then again, it's very difficult to fight against inflation then. So there's a lot of different aspects. 그 국채 가격이 자꾸 올라가면 yield는 떨어지기 때문에 yield가 떨어지면은 우리 이제 잘 알고 있지만은 10-year treasury yield가 떨어지면 30년 이자율이 떨어진단 말이에요. 그러니까 지금 아까 본 거가 지금 비슷하게 나타나죠. 연초에 yield가 떨어진단 말이에요. 그러니까 상대적으로 떨어지는 거죠. 지금 현재 높긴 높지만. 그러다 보니까 borrowing cost가 낮아지니까, 즉 30년 고정이자율이 낮아지니까 이코노미가 다시 막 활성화되면 뭐가 돼요? 인플레이션이 걱정이 되는 거야. Fed에서는 지금 그걸 컨트롤하려고 그러니까 굉장히 지금 anxiety, they express anxiety 하고 있다. 그런 지금 뉴스죠. 그래서 전체적인 돌아가는 거를 한번 여러분들이 보시면 누구는 뭘 걱정하고 누구는 뭘 걱정하고 이런 것들이 나올 수 있죠. 우리 부동산에서는 지금 아주 좋은 소식이잖아요. 그죠? yield가 떨어지니까 30년 고정이자율이 떨어진단 말이죠. 그럼 우리는 more activity가 될 수가 있는 거죠. Okay. So next news is again, it's a good news. Inflation pace slows for 6th straight month. Wow, that's good. The U.S. inflation eased in December for the 6th straight month following a mid-2022 peak as the Fed Reserve aggressively raised interest rate and economy showed signs of cooling. That's what Federal Reserve wants to fight against inflation increase. The consumer price index rose 6.5% last month from a year earlier, down from 7.1% in November. Okay. And well below a 9.1% peak in July. Mostly when we talk about just the inflation rate, we're talking about this consumer price index and goods and services. Now, core CPI means excluding energy and food, because energy and food prices are too volatile and too fluctuating too much, right? So we usually take out those two prices when we're talking about core CPI. Climbed 5.7% in December from a year earlier, easing from 6% gain in November. Again, core CPI also under control. 지금 그 뉴스는 인플레이션이, 보통 우리가 얘기하는 인플레이션도 사실은 이론적으로 따지면 굉장히 복잡해가지고 뭐 어떤 데를 잡고 있느냐에 따라서 달라지는데, 아무튼 요 컨슈머 프라이스 인덱스를 우리가 주로 보게 되는데, 그거로 봐서 지금 6월 달에 피크했잖아요. 9.1%다 이렇게 보통 우리가 하는데, 그것이 지금 떨어졌다는 게 이제 1년 전 대비 9.1%가 올랐다는 얘기였고요. 지금 떨어졌다는 얘기는 1년 전 대비 6.5%가 올랐다 이런 얘기죠. 그리고 노벰버에는 1년 전 대비 7.1%가 올랐다. 그러니까 점점 올라가는 폭이 줄어든다 이런 얘기죠. 굿 뉴스란 얘기죠. 인플레이션을 이제 컨트롤할 수 있다 희망들이 많이 보인 것 같아요. 오케이. 페드에서도 자신이 있고 그런데 이제 아까 전번 뉴스 얘기했던 반드가 막 랠리하면 오케이. 그러면은 일드가 떨어지니까 그러면은 이자율이 떨어지고 이자율이 떨어지면 또 경제가 또 불 붙여질까 봐 페드에서 걱정하는 거는 이제 경제가 불이 붙여지는 걸 걱정한다. 그 걱정하는 각도가 다 다르죠 사람마다. 오케이. 그래서 이것이 지금 코어 굿즈 여기 코어 굿즈고요. 인플레이션 지금 상승률. 다음에 이거 코어 서비스. 이거는 코어 서비스고요. 그래서 인플레이션 얘기할 때 서비스 쪽 얘기하고 굿즈 일반 물건 얘기할 때 조금씩 다르게 보고 있으니까 우리가 전문가는 아니니까 이렇게 아무튼 지금 떨어지고 있는 경향이다. 지금 코어 굿즈가 중요하죠 우리한테는. 코어 굿즈는 푸드과 에너지를 뺀 푸드과 에너지 너무 들락날락해서 안 치고요. 나머지 것들에 대한 통계가 지금 잘 떨어지고 있다. 요거는 아까 얘기했던 10-year US Treasury yield, yield가 지금 떨어지고 있죠. 그죠? 요 지금 곡선을 타고 있단 말이죠. 따라서 우리 36 고정이자 모기지 이자율도 같이 떨어지고 있다. 이건 S&P 500 퍼폼이 어떻게 되느냐? 퍼포먼스가 지금 랠리가 이제 반드가 이제 스트롱해지면서 그 트레이더들도 좋다. 자, 그렇게 지금 돼 있고요. 오케이. I think this is the last news. UBS says the Fed will lower interest rates from July. Is it true? Who is UBS, by the way? UBS is the Swiss, like central bank here, and also is the biggest privately owned bank in the world, they say. So this UBS forecasted that the US Federal Reserve, will start lowering the interest rate as early as July this year. Wow. How they know? But anyway, they forecasted. The chief economist at said the core goods price index increase might drop to 2.5%, which can be the pivotal event. So Swiss bank forecast the core goods price index increase will drop to 2.5%. So that can be pivotal event, which that is probably July. That's what they forecast. But this bank says the Fed simulation indicates 3.5% at the end of this year, but they forecast is 2.1% at the end of this year. The difference is not a small matter. So we'll see who is right, wrong. 스위스 뱅크가 지금 제가 지금 전화기가 없어서 확인 못 하겠는데 USB said that 그 은행이 이제 지금 privately owned bank인데 세계에서 제일 크다 그랬죠. private owned로는 그 스위스의 센트럴 뱅크거나 마찬가지고 그 은행에서 지금 전문가 chief economist가 예언한 건데 이제 예상을 한 거죠. US Federal Reserve가 준비위원회가 7월부터는 이자율을 내리기 시작할 거다라고 예상을 했다는 거죠. It's all good news. Today 우리가 지금 interest rate도 내려가는 거 봤죠. 6 months 계속해서 지금 내려가고 있고 그 흐름을 따라서 지금 스위스 뱅크는 미국 준비위원회가 7월부터는 이자율을 내릴 것이라고 예상을 했다. 그러면서 페드에서 US 준비위원회에서 시뮬레이션 한 거는 이번 말에 3.5%로 예상을 했는데 지금 이제 인플레이션 얘기죠. 코어 굿즈 인덱스. 그런데 자기네들이 USB 뱅크에서는 2.1%로 계산했다. 시뮬레이션 했다. 그래서 그 차이가 상당히 크다. 1.4% 정도니까 상당히 크다. 이렇게 지금 얘기를 하고 있다. 하여튼 좋은 뉴스가 왔으면 좋겠고요. Okay, that's it. That's it for this week's news brief, and I hope you enjoyed it and picked up some knowledges and newses, what's going on this year, this week. Sorry. Okay, so see you all next week. Thank you.